Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Tim's News Explosion. Today, it is Monday, the 16th of May, 2022. We are live on the Wilmsfront YouTube, DLive, and Odyssey channels, as well as on the interactive Entropy software, which I've put the link into the live chat. Hello to all my regulars. There's Colin, there's Savnik, and then there's Cresho, who, what is that, says Huss did nothing wrong, I assume, meaning Margot Huss. There seems to be some sort of rumor that she got arrested. I'm not familiar with that. I mean, Marg, as some of you know, does the audio video test before the show. As far as I know, she hasn't been arrested. I'm sure she can explain herself in the chat. So it is 8:30 p.m. here in Melbourne, Victoria, where it is 5 days until election day, but more importantly, election night, where we should know who is going to form the next Australian government and who is going to be the next Prime Minister. The reason why election night is going to be more important than election day is because there is already so many millions who've voted in early voting who are going to do a postal vote. And this is what could see that on election night we might not get a clear result because there's so much more of the vote to count. Apparently, a few days after the election, there's another Quad alliance meeting between Australia, Japan, India, and the United States. And if it's a hung parliament or too close to call, then who's going to go? Does Scott Morrison still become the caretaker prime minister? Now, even though, as I said, early voting has been going for well over a week, Scott Morrison only had the Liberals campaign launch in Brisbane on Sunday, and he unveiled a new, you would say, new housing policy, quite an ambitious housing policy, which would allow first home buyers to access up to $50,000 of their superannuation towards the purchase of their first home. They'd have to still save 5% of a deposit, but certainly that would make sure that because there's no limit on the dollar amount the $50,000 can be used to in terms of home value. It is certainly a policy that has energized the Liberal base, and there's certainly one better than Anthony Albanese, who wants the government to purchase 40% of your home. And with this one, it's allowing you to access your own money. Your superannuation is your own money to purchase your own home. And of course, Labor and the unions are livid because many of the superannuation funds, they're called industry superannuation funds, are controlled by unions. You might see the ads with the industry super funds. They do it's like a Illuminati symbol like that. If you see an ad for an industry super fund where they're doing the Illuminati symbol, then it means it's a super fund controlled by the trade union movement. So a lot of the union officials, they sit on those boards, collect six-figure salaries of your money, and industry super funds have also funding the left-wing rag, the New Daily. So certainly, it was, after all, it was Paul Keating when he was Prime Minister who set up the superannuation system, and we had Paul Keating leap out and say this is a terrible policy, and if Paul Keating says it's a terrible policy, then it can't be half bad. Now, we had some Australian economists say, "Oh, this is just going to bump up housing prices more." Well, so would Labor's one as well. Obviously, the main thing that's going to reduce house prices is more supply. But also the property price boom has been fueled by lower interest rates as well. Colin Penfold has said it will not be easy under Albanese. Yes, that's the Liberal ad jingle, and then there's that horrible singing jingle about more taxes are coming. I'm not sure if you've seen that ad, Colin, or anyone else in the chat, but that's such an annoying jingle about more taxes are coming. That'll probably put more people off voting for the Liberals and the coalition. Colin has also said it will probably be a lot of independents and the UAP. Yep, it'll certainly be interesting to see how well the UAP does in Victoria. I don't like the UAP housing policy, which is to fix mortgage interest rates at 3% for the next 5 years. I mean, that is one of the most irresponsible ways to fix housing affordability, and it's probably put me off giving them my first preference. Hadron says, I have COVID, so I guess I'll be giving it out to people. Are you telling me that you're not isolating, Hadron? That's still illegal in all jurisdictions in Australia. I mean, if you've got the flu, then there's no obligation to self-isolate. We had the Chief Health Officer here, Brett Sutton, announce on Twitter on Friday that he had contracted COVID. So this was his tweet. I'm down with COVID, feeling pretty rubbish, to be honest. Razor blade, throat, and painful cough. Clearly not the same for everyone. Can't imagine how it would be for me without the 3 doses of the vax. Good on science. Hashtag winter is coming. Us Melburnians in the chat. Did you know that it's getting quite cold here in Melbourne? It's. I often talk about the weather because even though it gets cold here in winter, it always takes us by surprise. Then, of course, someone replied to Brett Sutton with the meme, say the line. I got COVID, but I'm thankful I'm triple jabbed or otherwise to be in US. Yay! And a day later, Brett Sutton said he's feeling much better now, which shows that he was just being a drama queen, because that's the case with most people who contract COVID now. They feel rubbish for a couple of days and then they're fine. And he says that warning about the winter COVID and flu season, he's not trying to spread fear. He's just saying how it is. Apparently, the Herald Sun reported today that there was, a super spreader kids' birthday party where one person was infected, one child was infected with the flu and infected 50. And so we saw Brett Sutton, strip off his shirt to get his flu jab. So there's, they're promoting both the winter dose, want more people to have their boosters, and of course the flu vaccine as well. Also down with COVID is New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. She courted off her fiance Clark Gayford So apparently she's not well enough to chair the cabinet remotely. So she's also triple vaccinated as well, and she has access to some antivirals in a isolation stable there. And also, Bill Gates got COVID as well, and he, during an appearance with CNN, he said that he's not bothered by the conspiracy theories about him, but it's tragic if these conspiracies about him are keeping people from getting vaccinated. So he said he this was with Anderson Cooper. So he said the one about tracking people. I don't know why I think they think I'm interested in knowing people's locations, and that one I still have to laugh at. But if it's holding people back from getting vaccinated, then that's tragic. And then, so it said, Gates also touched on the theory that his support of vaccine research is solely for the purpose of gaining profit. He talks about how many billions of vaccines he's given away and saved millions of lives. He said that many conspiracy theorists assume that rather than this complex biology, that maybe there's just some bad person behind this. Gates also addressed vaccine hesitancies and ways to increase vaccination. Well, if hesitancy did go down somewhat, initially it was like at 60% of the population. But as they saw their friends getting vaccinated and very rare side effects as they saw their friends being protected, and the people with severe disease were overwhelmingly unvaccinated, then most people came around. But the vaccination rates in the US are still not high enough for him. And so he said we still need to figure out, who do these people trust? Are they open-minded because it's to their benefit and to the people around them? So just surprised the US, it's been tough and even somewhat a political thing. So there you go. Bill Gates, he can't understand all these crazy conspiracy theories about him, and can't understand why there's a lot in the US who where there is a lot more free will with regard to vaccination policy, don't want to get vaccinated. I see that Marg's arrived in the chat. Maybe she can clear up if she's been arrested or not. She said, "What is it? My son is not well. Just made him chicken soup." Didn't you? What is it? Aren't you supposed to give him lots of drugs and lots of jabs? That's the thing. Savnik says iodine is also good. My eyesight is getting so much worse. So this is why there's this delay between me putting up the comments and reading them out. I think because obviously got the big live stream on Saturday night, election night, starting at 6 p.m. Melbourne time. I'll have to put on my glasses and have a bigger screen because I'm just, I think my eyesight's getting worse. I don't know what it is, but definitely I'm really, really struggling here. All right, now a item of news that happened last week, but which I haven't covered on any Unshackled productions, is the resignation of Crazy Eyes Michael Gunner, who quit in the Northern Territory. So Michael Gunner last week made this tearful resignation speech during the delivery of the NT budget. He said that he's doing it for family reasons. He wants to raise his two young children. Got very emotional. Like, obviously tried to appear human, but of course we remember that's not going to wash with us. He was, as David Hiscock wrote here, that he gave Dan Andrews a run for his money as the craziest COVID leader in Australia. So you'll all remember what he said.
If you are anti-mandate, you are absolutely anti-vax. I don't care what your personal vaccination status is. If you support, champion, give a green light, give comfort to, support anybody who argues against the vaccine, you are an anti-vaxxer. Absolutely. Your personal vaccination status is utterly irrelevant. If you campaign against the mandate, if you campaign against people being vaccinated in vulnerable settings, teachers in classrooms, I'll be really clear, at that point in time, people were actually supporting the idea of a teacher being unvaccinated in a remote community classroom with kids who cannot be vaccinated. I reject that, Eileen. I still reject it. And if you are out there in any way, shape or form campaigning against this mandate, you are absolutely anti-vax. If you say pro-persuasion, stuff it, shove it. We are absolutely going to make sure as many Territorians as possible are vaccinated. That is our best protection against this thing. And if you look at the Doherty modelling that's only come out since, that says if you double dose 80 in remote communities, 5 and up, I think you'll see our vaccine mandate is absolutely crucial to protecting lives, particularly Aboriginal life. And I will never back away from supporting vaccines. And anyone out there who comes for the mandate, you are anti-vax.
Yes, that was Michael Gunner, of course, trying to redefine the definition of anti-vax. And yes, he cared so much about the welfare of Aboriginal people that he isolated not just COVID positive Aborigines in the Howard Springs quarantine camp, but all close contacts as well. And what is it? He called it the gold standard quarantine facility, and called people who were spreading misinformation online about the military enforcing lockdown and the NT tinfoil hat wearing tossers. And there was 3 Aboriginals who loved staying in Howard Springs so much that they escaped. Of course, Michael Gunner, he had been embroiled in a separate controversy by what was seen with the as political interference in the decision to prosecute Constable Zachary Rolfe, who shot dead a Kurjamara Walker when he was lunging at him and his partner when they were trying to apprehend him. He was found not guilty, thank you, Zachary Rolfe. So there apparently is going to be I think a coronial inquest, some form of inquest, and so Michael Gunner would be called to give evidence. Also, he was dealing with backlash because the NT budget was so bad, freezing public servants' wage increases for I think 4 years, and that's not popular with inflation going up as well. So he is the most recent state and territory leader to quit for family reasons. We had the Premier of Tasmania, Peter Gutwein, resign last month, replaced by Jeremy Rockcliffe. Now going to state politics, and I can't believe that the Victorian Liberals and opposition leader Matthew Guy are actually going to do this. They are looking at expelling pro-life MLC Bernie Finn, even though Bernie Finn has been 100% pro-life between his for his entire parliamentary career. But apparently it is, for him to hold these views now is apparently really, really outrageous, and it means there's no room for him in the Liberal party room. So the reasons for his expulsion are, well, this is reported by The Age. The reason that some senior MPs are pushing for his expulsion are a continued lack of discipline and repeated actions detrimental to the party's ability to stand up for the interests of Victorians has left no other option than but to consider Mr. Finn's eligibility to represent the Liberal Party. So the push is likely to succeed and will represent a win for Guy, who has been dogged by the Christian conservative backbenchers' controversial social media posts. You mean base social media posts. So last week he resigned the opposition whip because he was praying for abortion to be banned in Victoria, including in the case of sexual assault. Bernie Finn has posted on his Facebook page, do those behind this motion know that there is a federal election on Saturday? Instead of concentrating on the many sins of the Andrews government, people are dying because they can't get ambulance. Some political genius has decided to organize a factional hit. This is madness. And so this is what Bernie Finn posted on his Facebook page this afternoon. Free speech is not just another value. It is the foundation of Western civilization. And life and death issues have always been in the Liberal Party a conscience vote. I don't know if Matthew Guy is planning to change that. And yeah, Matthew Guy claims that, Bernie Finn's posting is distracting us from defeating Dan Andrews in November. That seems to be his reasoning. Bernie Finn came up with the nickname Dictator Dan. I don't know, as Matthew Guy, is he planning to be a dictator of his own, a dictator guy if he wins the state election in November? Now, Bernie Finn on his Facebook page alluded to an MP in Brighton pushing for his expulsion, which I think he was alluding to James Newbury, who I guess might be worried about his own seat in November, since the polls are suggesting that the Liberal MP for Goldstein, Tim Wilson, is in danger of losing to the independent former ABC journalist Zoe Daniel. It'd be quite a shame if Tim Wilson lost, given that he is one of the most pro-freedom, pro-free market MPs in the federal parliament. And he actually, Scott Morrison's new housing policy it's actually the brainchild of Tim Wilson. This is a long, he's had this political slogan for a while now, home first, super second, fight for home ownership. And of course, Josh Frydenberg, he is under real threat of losing his seat from another Teal independent, Dr. Monique Ryan. I've got just got a text from, yes, I'll get to that part of the show soon. So yes, Bernie Finn, he'd already announced his intention to re-nominate for the 2022 election. If he's kicked out of the Liberal Party, will he run for a Freedom Minor Party? I mean, Bernie Finn, this is a real act of bastardry against him, because he has been one of the biggest team players in the Victorian Liberal Party over its many years in the political wilderness. Now, over in the US, things are not going well at the moment. The whole nation has a baby formula shortage. You'll remember that there was a baby formula shortage in Australia many years back when these Chinese shoppers were buying it all to send back to China because the baby formula in China had been contaminated and made a lot of babies sick, and some of it actually died. Thankfully, those days are behind us, and let's hope that this baby formula shortage doesn't happen here in Australia as well. But the Biden administration seems, more focused on helping Ukraine than the people of the United States of America, who inflation is out of control. They're way higher than it is here in Australia. And thankfully, there is some opposition to this, free money. That's what you would call it, free money to Ukraine. President Zelensky, he's always demanding more aid from Western nations, more weapons. And Rand Paul, all he could do was basically delay this $40 billion aid package. Rand Paul said, "We cannot save Ukraine by dooming the US economy." Paul said that it seemed like Congress was intent on adding to their pain. If this gift to Ukraine passes, our total aid to Ukraine will almost equal the entire military budget of Russia. And it's not as if we have that money lying around. We'll have to borrow it from China. And Rand Paul, of course, said there'd be a financial day of reckoning if the United States did not stop its fiscal insanity, because you think our debt is bad. I think the US debt is something like 20 trillion now. On Tuesday night, the military and humanitarian package passed the House by 368 to 57. All those opposed were Republicans. And now the Russia-Ukraine conflict, it's now centered on the Donbass region. I mean, life is back to normal in Kyiv, and like all Western leaders, they're all making pilgrimages now to Kyiv. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, he was there recently. But you're all supposed to believe that all of Ukraine is basically it's a smoldering ruin at the moment. I mean, obviously that's the case with Mariupol, but not for most of the country. And of course, Ukraine won Eurovision. Most people would know that it wasn't the best song, but it was just the sentiment of the song. It was basically they were awarded the Eurovision basically to show how much Europe loves Ukraine. There's also rumors now that Putin has cancer. And there's now also rumors that President Xi Jinping has a brain hemorrhage, and there's talks of a coup against Xi because of his insane COVID-0 policy, with Shanghai still in a stage 5 lockdown. It seems that Xi and his supporters are all very triggered that the West has gone back to normal. Most of the West has gone back to normal living with COVID, which should always have been the policy. And so he's determined to show Xi that COVID-0 is still achievable. And you pesky democracies, you've given up. And of course, he wants to show that he is. His communist fascist system is superior to the West, because he can just do whatever he likes to the citizens. And of course, North Korea is, it's spiraling their cases of fever because they can't really test people. And South Korea is offering them vaccines because no one is vaccinated in North Korea. And now, also in the US, there was the tragic mass shooting in the New York City of Buffalo with 18-year-old Peyton Gendron murdering 10 people and injuring 3. It's been investigated as a hate crime by the FBI because apparently he did it in a predominantly black neighborhood, even though he shot at some white people as well. And his manifesto, he seemed to be inspired by Brenton Tarrant because, well, he tried to live stream the shooting like Brenton Tarrant and wore all this military equipment, including a bulletproof vest. So he's been charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. And of course, this horrible spate of murders that he committed is, well, the deep state and are of course secretly pleased that this has happened. Now, this was posted by Blair Cottrell on his Gab. This is, I think, from 4chan about, he said, RE Buffalo shooting. Be radicalized on 4chan, decide that you have to save the white race, don't have children, don't start a political movement, don't contribute to your community, decide to commit a shooting, type up a manifesto name dropping all the sites that the Fed wants banned, use all the gear the Feds want banned, use the weapons the Feds want banned, drive past the anti-white politician, drive past the federal building, drive past the illegal immigrant sweatshop, shoot up a grocery store filled with white people, let yourself be captured, fueling the white privilege myth. And I've noticed a lot of Twitter comments saying that it's clear that he was inspired by Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham because they talk about white replacement theory. So again, this is going to be used, this mass murder to try and silence the free speech of the media personalities they don't like, and also silence genuine debate about demographic change in the United States as well. And of course, when there is a black shooter, or what is it, a car killer. I remember the Wisconsin car attack where apparently this car wasn't driven by anybody, just plowed and killed these into this Christmas parade. And what is it, the New York subway shooting. Remember, they both disappeared quickly, those tragic events, because they didn't fit the narrative. But of course, this is going to be talked about for weeks and months. And then there's of course the trial to go as well. So of course, the progressive left in their anti-freedom, anti-free speech agenda never let a tragedy go to waste. And this could have ramifications locally here in Australia and Victoria, like what happened after the Christchurch massacre, when Brenton Tarrant murdered 51 people inside that Christchurch mosque. We had on the weekend what looked like federal police unmarked cars shut down and arrest some members of the NSN who were wanting to do a banner drop against the Victorian government's proposed swastika ban. And of course, we still have the ongoing saga here of Victoria Police. They have tried so hard to put to prosecute Neil Erickson for both the he served 1 month in prison for the disruption of the Islamic prayers at Federation Square back in April 2020, and he's appealing his 12-month prison term for speaking at a gay church service and not leaving when he was asked to because he was invited to speak. There was another court appearance in the county court today. It's being heard by Chief Justice Peter Kidd. Neil is wanting to make a constitutional implied right to freedom of communication, and I think the police on appeal have invoked the Victorian Charter because apparently this is what in my interpretation, that it seems the Victorian Charter, it doesn't protect individual rights, it only protects collective rights and victim groups. So he's got an appeal trial on July 13th and 14th. So there's still plenty of resources going into surveil nationalists, and of course they've always got their eye on the National Socialist network as well. Given what's happened with them over the past year. Now, as I mentioned, I'll be back live on the Wilmstrand and Unshackled YouTube channel on election night, 6 p.m. Melbourne time. And on election eve, there'll be Trad Tasman Talk with myself and Dewey de Boer, 6 p.m. Melbourne time on the Unshackled YouTube channel. We'll see if Jacinda Ardern is better by that time, and see what's in store for the New Zealand budget there. What has Senator Slayer said there? I was framed. And Savnik says LGBT is a religion. And Hadron says it's exactly the same story as Blair then. I think you're referring to, well, it's when Blair, Neil, and Chris Shortis were prosecuted for beheading that dummy outside the Bendigo Mosque back in 2014. That dragged, it's 2015, sorry, that dragged on for 4 years. This, gay church incident, that happened in May 2019, so it's dragged on for 3 years. All right, thank you everyone for watching. I will see you all on Friday. Hadron Anti-Bullying says on Entropy, what can we do to help Margot while she's in prison? Well, I don't think she is in prison. I think that's a bit of fake news. I think Marg is very much living free. All right, good night, everybody.
Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.